So how do we get to know, which particular cloud service provider is good for me, is best for me? We'll compare a top three provider today, AWS, Azure, and Google. What are the differences in between them? What are the points that we should compare upon, when I'm selecting the provider? Again, we have discussed that, this is not the decision that we can individually take, but this decision depend on what factor, that what factor is looked after, when you're selecting the provider for your services. That's what we are going to discuss today. So there are a couple of comparison providers you can look for: market share, strengths, pricing, enterprise integration, global reach, easy of use, security, and compliance. Let's first discuss about market share. So AWS started this journey. This was the like AWS was the first provider. They started in 2006, and then after they continuously kind of expanding their operations globally. AWS holds a majority of the markets here in terms of platform and infrastructure as a services. That's a 40% market share in this like world. Second comes Azure. This is the second largest provider, which is again rapidly gaining the market share. Azure started their um, like cloud business in late 2008, like right after 2 years when AWS came into the market. And then you have a Google. Google Cloud has a little bit of like small or less market share compared to AWS and Azure, but it's still growing steadily because of there's some certain, capture in the small markets, I would say. So here, AWS is around 40%, Azure is around, 25 to 30%, Google Cloud is 10%. The rest of the 50% is taken care by different small players in the market. I'll walk you through a Gartner report which talks about the market shares of different cloud providers. So if you see this 2023 report, this is the report actually every year it gets rolled out towards October or November. So this is a last year report, which will tell you details about all those providers and stuff. If you see this particular chart here, it says these are the top four providers which are like kind of getting a majority of the share. So first one is Amazon Web Services, second is Microsoft, Google, then Oracle, and then rest of the market is taken care by Alibaba, IBM, Huawei, and Tencent. Tencent is again a different Chinese cloud provider, I would say, and they are also gaining a little bit of more attention. But if you see on the top, AWS has been a consistently top market share, since they have launched their services. And then come the Microsoft Azure and Google. That's why we have chosen these three to have a comparison in between. Now, if we go back to the discussion, one was the market share. So now know that these three have a top market share. AWS is the first one. Now the next parameter is strength. What are the strength of these particular providers? So if you look at AWS, it has a breadth and depth of infrastructure and platform as a service. There are so many options, so many no flexibility options, I would say, to be specific, available in infra and platform when you think about AWS. AWS has an extensive marketplace. Now, what's the AWS marketplace? They are pulling up all the different providers, with their products. So think about SAP, think about uh, you can say Oracle, you can say like all different security providers. So all those products you will find out on the AWS marketplace. So they have built this marketplace, and there is an AWS partner program also. A specific organization can become their partner and market their product on the AWS marketplace. So that's one thing which kind of gives you exposure to different products in different organizations, which had helped AWS to grow their business. AWS was the first one. They have launched or maybe invented few hardware designs products for the efficiency and performance improvement on the hardware side. Now think about a data center. They were the first one who kind of invented those hardware device which uplifted the hardware performance from a data center operations point of view. So that's again a give a kind of stability and credibility that they have their in-house hardware innovations which will kind of keep my performance top on the top. Second one, Azure. Azure has a strong integration with Microsoft services and developer capability. So you might see that, Azure and Microsoft goes hand in hand. Wherever there is a development notion or people are more familiar with Microsoft technology, they would tend to go with Azure. But with AWS, it's more of like everything, people with Oracle background, SAP background, um, Windows Server background. Everyone is coming because of their this partner and marketplace link and their rich history, I would say, from last 15 plus years. So second was Azure with kind of integration with Microsoft technologies and developer capabilities that gets a plus over there to get them that strength. We had been building these products. Now these products are available in Azure also. Google Cloud is more, I would say, tilted or more focused on AI infused technologies. So they are more focused on AI, how they can use this AI into infrastructure and the platforms. They also have a high sustainability because of their data center models. It's very rare that you will see that Google is down, right? That gives them a high sustainability. And also, they are the first one who started this natural language processing AI modeling and stuff because of their search engine business. So that is helping them to inform or maybe, use that data into their cloud business. So that's again a plus and then the strength of Google Cloud, I would say. The next point is pricing. Now, almost all the providers here, whether it's AWS, Azure, or any other, they usually work on pay as you go model. We also call it as a meter costing. Now, AWS also works on the similar model, but they gives you a wide range of features and services. So there are a lot of options available. That's a plus with the costing. This is Next is Azure. It also works on the pay-as-you-go model, but there are hybrid enterprise benefits. Now, when I say enterprise benefit, if you take Office 365 thing into the picture, you have different integration, different connections points, and you can work on the benefits of Office 365 with your Azure enterprise licenses also, you can say. So that gives them benefits for Azure users. If they have been Office 365 user, they might get a different plus to use the cloud from the Azure technologies, I would say. So that gives me, a little bit of, negotiations or not negotiation benefits on the pricing side, I would say. Next come the Google Cloud. It also works on the pay-as-you-go model, but it has a different pricing tier. So there is a sustained use and committed use. So when I say sustained use, I'll be using mostly pay-as-you-go. When I say committed use, I will be paying $100 a month. Now if I'm paying this much, I'll get this much of discount. It's more of like that. So they're coming up with the innovative pricing model that's kind of a little bit catchy from a user end point of view. Next is enterprise integration. Azure has a strong roots again in infra and platforms with different automation and DevOps technology with a wide range of services. So you'll see immune or you can see a very much a big ecosystem of services and integrations within the AWS. There are almost 1,000 services in a single console. Azure becomes easy for the enterprise integrations when you have a Microsoft Progress or Azure ecosystems and you get an advantage from Power Apps and Office 365. So it becomes very easy for you to kind of navigate through that ecosystem of Microsoft and Azure. So that's the benefit that you get when you think from an integration point of view. Google again focuses on AI and ML, big data and analytics sort of thing because that has been their market, data, um, artificial intelligence, machine learning, that's where they focus. So if someone wants to only focus on those things, he might opt for a Google Cloud. Then comes the global reach. Again, AWS has the extensive global footprint with largest number of regions and availability zone, almost presence in everywhere geography. Azure also has a similar footprint, but especially in Europe and North America. They started with North America and Europe, and then they are expanding on their footprint. So you can say it's very close now. The footprint of Azure and AWS, they are almost present everywhere in the world. Google has a little bit of less footprint, but they are expanding continuously. And again, when I'm talking about Google, I'm talking about Google Cloud, not about their search engine and different stuff, right? So Google Cloud has some like little bit of smaller footprint compared to AWS and Azure. Next is easy of use. AWS is powerful, but sometimes people feel that it's complex due to the number of services. So there are so many services in the single console. Sometimes I have got that feedback, it's a little confusing for me to identify or select a service. And that's why we are here for to recommend and to go through the services, right? The next one is Azure, which is easier for the people who are already familiar with the Microsoft product. It works best with Azure services. So the, let's say, developers and testers who have been already familiar with the Microsoft technology, for them it might be easy. The people who are already integrated Office 365, Power Apps, Dynamics 365, it will be easy for them to kind of jump onto Azure, I would say. Google has also a user-friendly environment, and it has a little bit of easy interface because, again, not that much of footprint, not those many services. So it becomes easy, when you say a limited number of services and limited use case. So it has a very good user in friendly UI, and it's a straightforward interface. That's what the customers are saying. Security and compliance. Almost all the providers are focusing on security and compliance because, as in when you are expanding your businesses, there are very good chances of security hacking and stuff like that, right? So AWS is highly secure with a wide range of compliance. You have a different security services that you can use upon. You can have different checkpoints that you can use upon. Azure also has a focused security checkpoints with multiple integration, and they have a suite kind of product, right? Office 365 suite, Power Apps, and then you have Dynamic 365. So there are multiple checkpoints, I would say, with multiple integrations. So sometime, for customer, it becomes a little bit a long, lengthy list to kind of, all to have all those checkpoints. So again, you have multiple checkpoints, multiple integrations. So you have to be a little bit more cautious about your security and compliance. Google Cloud also has a strong security with a focus on encryptions and the data protection. So every provider here, they provide a strong encryption capacity that up to us, how we are using. So if you see, we have kind of, gone through all those parameters of security, compliance, cost, global reach, sustainability, market share, right? In conclusion, I would say AWS is best for flexibility and the wide range of services and the global reach. So if I want to select a provider for my personal use, I would go with the maximum global reach. I would go with the maximum services. I would go with the history of, downtimes and, on falls and the presence in the world. So that's where I'll select AWS. If I'm already investing into Microsoft technologies and like Office 365 products and similar business productivity tools, I would might go with Azure in that case. If I'm more towards AI analytics, that sort of a thing, I would go with Google Cloud. So in conclusion, you have to decide where you are right now, what's your focus. According to that, you will select your cloud service provider.